to. Is that on? Yeah, that's on. Uh, Akshay, Tushar, welcome. Firstly, congratulations on such a delightful, huggable film. Thank you for being here. Akshay, you already know I am the biggest fan of this film, so I'm so glad we get to be talking about it again. Um, Unfortunately, Zende sir couldn't be here today. He was supposed to be here, but he's traveling in Bangalore. Is that right?
Yeah, I think so. It's his son's birthday today,
Okay.
so he couldn't miss that.
But just to let everyone know, because I'm sure they're all very curious, he's doing well. He's still very much.
He's still doing the 10 kilometers.
So he's still that person. So I'm going to talk to you guys a bit, and then we're going to open it up. I want to make sure I get enough time for any questions you guys have, and then I can just keep jumping in. Before we kick off, I just want to set a bit of context on the film. Just talk to us about where this came from and how you found him, because this all started with you wanting to make a project on Charles Sobhraj, right?
Yes, not about Charles Sobhraj, but someone asked me to write something about Zende and if we could make a fiction film out of him, to have a fiction actor. So we just went to his house for research, and one of my assistant directors had a small camera with him. And I just thought we don't need an actor and we should make this a film. So it was that instantaneous. And even if you see the process, I mean, unfortunately for production, we never had a schedule. So, there was many times when, we were at one corner of the city and production people were at the other corner. So because we went according to his mood, and I think so the one thing which I wanted to really keep in the film was that, like the way I saw him is like how I discovered him. I think so the edit pattern should have been the same. And, that's how I got to know about him. And I just thought it was a random, because he used to forget things, and, from Dawood Ibrahim used to go, अरे मैं उधर बिरयानी खाया था उसके साथ. So then I thought that's a nice edit pattern we should keep. So yeah, I mean, that's how it was there. The process was very, I think so, very beautiful. I think so I have a lot of footage, and we have all tripped on him for like years of edit. So yeah.
Before we open it up, I want to ask both of you. One thing I love about this is, we all assume independent documentaries to be, most of the ones you come across, they're very sort of serious, they can be very depressing, obviously very important stories. And this is one of the rare times I'd come across something so wonderful and huggable. It just gives you hope. And it just makes you sort of feel good and gives you such a delightful perspective. So I wanted to talk about exactly what you just said. How did you capture his personality through the tone of the film? You have the really cheeky visual style. You have Sneha Kanvalkar's excellent music. You have that sort of the really, even the filmy font and things like that and the edit pattern. So what went into capturing that really playful tone, which is something we see very rarely in a documentary?
No, I think so. See, it's very important that, filmmaking doesn't come above the character or above the process of making it. He should define what. It's not that, I thought of him like that, that's why he's like that. Sometimes the character should define the tonality of the film. And because this is a very character-oriented film, and for me, filmmaking is all about characters. You go back to all the films you really like, it's all about the characters. So, yeah, I mean, how he was, I think so, what we all tried to match him. And that's the process which I followed, and it was very organic. It wasn't planned. Like if you see, a lot of the shots might not even have focus, but the moment is there, and it's there. So yeah, I mean the DOP had a very hard time, to be honest. So
a good problem to have. I do want to talk to you about exactly how you've captured it, because it's very interesting way. But before that, Tushar, I'm just going to bring you in. When you guys live with this man and his wonderful perspective, in the process of making this film and after, what are the biggest things you have learned from him?
The biggest thing I have learned from this film is when we were making this film, I was around some 24 years old, and today I am 27. So we have grown through the film and through all his teachings, what he has taught us through the film. And the best part was it used to start in the morning. We used to go to him, Aaj ka program kya hai? And he used to tell us Aaj ka program, whatever we were going to shoot. And throughout that shooting period, we used to get to learn a lot about life. And that is something which we realize now when we look back on that journey, we look back on all those learnings, what we have learned through the film.
So anytime somebody wanted to know the production schedule, you'd be like, we have to ask sir and see what he says.
नहीं, ऐसा कुछ नहीं था. Sir used to dictate us कि आज हम यहाँ जाएंगे, आज हम वो करेंगे, and that was our shooting schedule.
Love that. With that, we will open it up, and then I have a lot more I want to ask. But if anyone has any questions, feel free to jump in. If not, I will carry on. So you guys can think about that one. I wanted to talk to you about. You mentioned sort of how the film was shot. I want to talk to you. I found it so interesting that you are inserting yourself into the documentary. We're always very aware of the camera, and I love that. I love that. I'm very aware that we are watching a documentary, and it's not. Something I struggle with a lot is with staginess. That you see a lot of documentaries and they feel so staged. The real lifeness of it that gets diluted. So did you, and we hear your voice so much, we just feel your presence there. So did you always know you wanted to do it like that, where I know I'm going to be part of it and it's okay, I'm not trying to control those variables?
Yeah, I mean 100%, because I think so. See, if you see Zende Saab from another lens, say if it's if you see him or you document him, he's a separate person. Like I still remember the second day of the shoot, and my first day is like we should do this. We were just walking, and there's one guy with a nice build and 6 feet, and so Zende Saab stops him. He says, "You have a good body," and he just gives his watch to him. So that's he says that he's always been a giver. And I just thought that one, and we couldn't capture it because, of course, we were trying to get a production schedule. And I think from that day, I just decided that production can't tell me, or it should not be like, restriction for me to see it. And also it's true. What I also really liked about him was he was very honest. And if like, for example, I asked him, sir, you're a police officer, but like there are drugs in, outside police station. He said, I couldn't change it. What to do? So, I mean, it's as simple as that. And I just thought, we see a police officer from a different light. I mean, I have not seen anything which sees a police person from a different lens. So I just wanted to capture that. And I think I met him when he was 82. Now he's 85. I think if I had met him at 40, I don't think so I would have made this documentary. So, I got him at the correct age for me. He fascinated me, and I think so that fascination is seen, I think so, through the camera. I mean, that's what I wanted to tell.
I love that organicness because it really feels like we are in the room with him. It's not, it really feels like we're right there. I also have to say that I was very lucky to have got to meet him when I did the Q&A at the Mami premiere, and he really lives up to the legend. That is actually who he is. And to watch him just interact with an audience is very delightful. Speaking of what you said about policing, there's something you said in an interview about how we portray cops on screen. The idea of the super cop, and you said, Bollywood runs behind encounter specialists and Zende runs a different school of thought, working with people, peacekeeping. It doesn't make for a good Bollywood plot, but it surely makes for a great policeman. So I have to ask you, like, are you surprised, and what do you make of how policing is so often portrayed on screen? It is Singham and all that stuff versus this, which is a kind of side we very rarely see.
Yeah, I mean, if so, see, he's a police officer, so he knows Bombay in and out. So, like, for example, because we are in Worli, the chawls which were made, they were made by the police commissioner. I forgot the Bombay Trust. This thing. So, the impact of police on the city is huge, and I'm saying because this is a British thought which came into Indian policing, like greats like Arvind Patwardhan and other. I think so that history has been lost. I mean, I don't know if it's the films, or I think so films reflect the society, and vice versa. The police jeep is always late at a scene. So I mean, that's what I grew up to seeing. That abhi sab ho gaya. Now the police comes and just takes the bad guy aside. I think so. He gave a different perspective. And I thought this perspective also should be there. So, I mean, I think so. Very less of policing, to be very honest, I asked him because it's just him. I really think I just captured his moments, and that just made the film.
It really did, but I loved how he wasn't defensive, about it, where he wasn't afraid to talk about the shortcomings. He talks about how there are good policemen and bad policemen and things like that. And how he talks a lot in the early bits of the film about how there is a culture of fear from people. And I love that he's obviously talking about how he dealt with things, but at the same time is aware of how things are. I wanted to also ask you the AI question. because you guys have used it. And I remember we briefly talked about this a few years ago, but obviously a lot of conversation has happened since then. You guys obviously use it, correct me if I'm wrong, to recreate certain figures and a place and time. And it's such a small part. But I mean, especially with a documentary, we see a lot more of these days. What do you guys think of that entire world where a lot more people seem to be using it? A lot of stuff makes us uncomfortable. What's your take on it?
See, we did not have budgets to make sets. So, I mean, that was the best option we had in whatever options were there in front of us. And I think it made sense because, see, eventually you want to see, you're imagining a visual. Now, what technology you use is, I did not say, oh, I have to use AI. That wasn't the point. I think so that was the only option I had, to be very honest.
But what do you guys make of, and Tushar, please jump in, what do you guys make of sort of today? Like I said, here it's not irresponsibly used in any way, but a lot of people nowadays are really testing those boundaries. So where would you guys say the lines are? If I am a non-fiction filmmaker and I want to use AI, what are the do's and don'ts?
I mean, see, with AI is a tool where there is no limitation. You can go beyond limits and do whatever you want to do if it used in the correct sense and the correct manner. For us, the main thing was that we wanted to try something new to give it a new treatment to the film. See, as you must have seen a lot of documentaries coming out of the indie space. It speaks about a lot of serious issues or multiple issues which are from the society, and our film doesn't have any of those. So how do we look different? How do we make this look different? And then came the archives budget, and that's when Akshay said that we had no option but to go to AI. And I think after using AI, now we also have an AI studio where we operate from. So after working on multiple projects after this, we feel that AI is a brilliant tool to be used in this piece.
See, it's also who's the person behind using it. So it's the technology is always there. You can use the camera to do whatever you want to do. I mean, you can't say camera is bad. It's how do we use the technology eventually will determine. So, I mean, there will be some use which is not good, and of course, AI is scary, 100%. But also it can be used for in a better way. So it's how you use it, and it changes from person to person.
Also, just adding one point here with AI, we have a tendency to look up to the West always when West does things, and this was the time when we decided to do something on our own and let the world see what we do. And I think so we have done a fair job.
No, you absolutely have. I didn't mean that. I just meant that it's so interesting that since this film was made until now, there's been, that entire conversation has changed a lot. I will pause there if anyone has any questions. If not, I will carry on. Just raise your hand if you do. Sorry. I'm sorry. There's one over there.
Akshay, Tushar, thank you so much. This is such a wonderful film. What a pleasant surprise. Absolutely delightful. Thank you for capturing the inspiring figure that Mr. Zende is. For both of you, my question is that when you make a film like this, and you said that a lot of indie films probably veer towards a more serious side, and that's almost an expectation from indie films somehow. When you make a film, what is your expectation from the film once it's ready and once you're showcasing it? How do you measure, if I have to just use the word success, if I have to, I just don't mean commercially, but what do you hope to get out of it once it's done and out there?
So if you ask me, see, for this film, I did not plan even to make a documentary. So to think about the question that, I often used to tell everyone it's my laptop film. I never thought that, if it wasn't for Deepthi Dikuna and the Film Bazaar, I don't think so the film would have even left my laptop. So because of her, the laptop film became a festival film, and then possibly it might reach out to more people now through some conversations which we are having with streaming platforms. But the idea is, see, there's something which I wanted to make this, so I never thought about, where it will reach. But eventually, to answer your question, I think so it's to reach out to as much as audience as we can. I thought the film was very entertaining. It's my personal thing, and that's why I thought it could get a theater release, but of course it was crashed within a second. But I'm just saying that in general, you want people to see it. So I know if this had a bigger star, possibly it would have got to to other people, or someone presenting it possibly could have gotten a quicker OTT platform. But yeah, I mean, it's just to reach out to more people to show this film. That's the only goal.
Just on the question of the theater release, I do see that in multiplexes you have shorter releases, like for a week or two. I don't know. Is it that challenging to have like
So
a release?
see, I mean, I don't know, but see, it might be simpler for other people. But the thing is, because I did not plan this film, right? So it becomes, there is no thinking process of it. Like for example, मतलब हमारी एक्सपेक्टेशन इतनी लो है कि हम थिएटर तो मतलब सोचना ही वो इट्स दैट काइंड ऑफ अ थिंग दैट वी जस्ट थिंक कि भैया ये फिल्म बन जाए. That is the first, and this is the last goal of, like, a Mami premiere for us was like, cool, we are happy about it. So maybe the next film which I do, the expectations will go, the confidence will grow, and we would aim for a bigger thing. I mean, at least in our heads. I don't know where it will go, but again, I mean, it's just the low expectations really set the bar.
Sorry, we have a question here. Sorry, we'll just get you the mic.
If you had to make this into a commercial film, what would you have done differently? I mean, I know
Sir-
the whole canvas is different, the whole style is different, right?
Do you mean a fiction film?
Yes, no, not a fiction film, but like, we were talking about Zanjeer or something like that, to actually put some fantasy into it or put some kind of a storyline uninterrupted, not like an interview or something like that. How would you have, what would have gone more into it, and how you would have actually, approached it, like, to make it into a commercial kind of a venture? And what is the possibility of making this into a commercial venture?
Sir, I think so. Someone is talking to Mr. Zende to make it into a fiction film right now. But more than that, I did not see any other way to shoot this. That's why I shot it like this. Like if I wanted to have a research with him and then take a fiction actor and make it into a like, for example, a traditional commercial film, like, even if it's the best way, I couldn't see it. I just thought this is the best possible way to capture that man's story. I couldn't see any other way which could give justice to his life.
Into a 2-hour film or something like that.
Sir, it is, but I couldn't see it. I just thought this is, like, for example, if I have to see, I mean, biopics can't be about, like, if you make a fiction film, the only limitation is that, you have to highlight one thing out of it. I just thought in this, through chapters, I could basically give justice to his life. I mean, there is enough material to make possibly a good fiction 2 hours film, 100%. But I couldn't see it. I just saw it as a docu, which I thought was very fascinating for me to capture a police person like this.
I just wanted to share something which is my personal experience of one of the characters which was shown over here is Haji Mastan. I happen to be a doctor, a radiologist now. I'm an honorary doctor to the police department. But at that time I was very young. In 1981, I'm talking about, I started my practice in Vilepala. And I used to do CT scan, one of the earliest CT scans in the city of Mumbai. And one afternoon, I had some 4 or 5 guys who came to my clinic, and they came into my cabin and they said, tomorrow we are bringing one person. Make sure that there's nobody in the clinic at that time. And I really had no idea about who was going to come the next day. So next day walks in Haji Mastan, and I do his scan, and then he comes into my cabin and he sits with me, and we had a discussion with what his scan was. So I just explained to him very nicely. I was also scared. And then he says, Doc, you spoke to me so nicely and explained to me so well. If any time you don't like somebody, let me know. I said, look, I like everybody. Everybody is my friend. But that was my one-to-one with this big guy at that time in 1981. He was the kingpin of Bombay. So this is like taking me back to my younger days. We were not even married at that time. I was that young. Yeah.
I smell a sequel. Also, just to your previous point, just to be the voice of cynicalness, the sort of the commercial version of this film, I can guarantee you that everything I've loved this film for, and I'm sure you did as well, his personality, his perspective, everything that makes that man special, I can almost guarantee you that any fictional masala film about him will completely erase all of that, and it'll become another very traditional by the book about heroic cop and all his achievements, rather than everything that I think makes him special based on this film. That's exactly what they would do. Which I'm almost sure about. And it will lose and his personality. And he'll just be another Bollywood cop. And we have a lot of those. I also wanted to ask you guys about the duration. I'm sure you shot extensively with him. It's a very crisp, tight 70-minute film. I'm sure there's so much more you had. Why that duration?
See, I think so. The first cut which I did was around 180 minutes. For 1 month I thought I'll not even make 179 minutes. But then after a month when I saw it, I thought, no, I have to get it down because I'm getting bored at certain situations. So I don't know if it's ADHD or something, but I don't like the traditional films which are slow in pace. So I like these fast jump cuts. So it's the way, again, I wanted to see it. Like, these are the moments I want to see. These are the moments I think it's like highlighting those 180 minutes. And also the story comes through, so why not? So, from that perspective, I just wanted to make it, like, if I'm getting bored, I thought everyone else will get bored. So, I wasn't bored for 65 minutes, and I saw it like more than 20-30 times, and I said, no, this has to go to the audience then.
No, it works beautifully, but then I guess I have to ask both of you, what were your favorite moments with him or sequences that you guys took out on the edit table? Yeah, which you had to for the...
So I guess a lot over there, right?
I think so, because he spoke about Haji Mastan, there's one situation which is not here. Like, for example, there was one driver, Haji Mastan's driver was called Daud. So what happened, he met Zende after Zende sir got retired, and he touched his feet and he said, sir, आपको पता है क्या, वो हाजी मस्त जब आप स्कूटर पे जाते थे तो हाजी मस्तान बोलता था, नहीं इसको ओवरटेक मत कर, इसको ओवरटेक मत कर, बाजू वाली गली से गाड़ी निकाल. I mean, moments like this. फिर there were a couple of beautiful moments when हाजी मस्तान सामने पिक्चर दिख रहा था, उसके पीछे लोग कोई गुंडे बैठे होंगे, तो वो पैर ऊपर रखने की तभी ये हुआ करती, तो हाजी मस्तान के ऊपर उसने सब पैर रखा, तो और हाजी मस्तान को बोलता है, अरे तू जानता है कि मैं हाजी मस्तान के गैंग से हूँ. तो I mean, fun bits, but I mean, because it was not adding to the story, but I mean, moments from Underworld, because the Underworld stories were really funny. I thought there's a lot of humor which I've not seen before in Underworld films. So maybe it just helps me to write better now. Yes.
An Underworld comedy, we would watch that.
I think so. Om Raut is making the fiction film, if I'm not wrong. But yeah, I'm not sure about it.
Sounds tragic. Sorry, you had anything?
I mean, so for me, the moments which were taken out of the film, there were a lot, and especially there were a lot of segments in Riot Man segment, which there were a bite of a person who tells us exactly how Zende sir just stepped inside that riot which was happening in 93-92 I guess it was near Esplanade, and that is where that entire thing was happening, and how he just he removed his holster and just took a stick and just started walking inside and just saying, and at that time,
That's there in the film.
no, the guy who was sitting with that Shivaji Maharaj wala.
Oh no, correct. वो नहीं.
That scene, basically what happened there is that there was riot happening, and as he tells, मेरा लोग अंदर है, and before that entire section is there, but there's a clip of a person that is not there. And
So actually what had happened was we were walking with him in Bhendi Bazaar. Now this is after he had retired more than 35 years. He retired in 95. We were shooting in before COVID. So, he was walking and suddenly people started noticing him. So all the old people knew Zende Saab. So everyone was surprised that Zende Saab aa gaya. Now for us, for a cop coming in an area after 32 years, and people, and there was a full mob and they were like, Zende Saab, and we were like, मतलब 30 साल हो गया यार, कोई तो criticize करो, मुझे conflict चाहिए था film में. No conflict, the film has no conflict. And he says that also on the phone.
Nobody wants to say anything bad about it.
कहता है यार ये बॉम्बे में पूरा घूम रहे, मेरे बारे में कोई बुरा ही नहीं बोल रहा. अब मैं, And everyone, my first AD and my DA and every, sir, there is no, how will you stitch this? How will you, there's no, there's no villain. So I mean, I say, I don't know how I'll stitch it, but I stitched it. But I mean, we were trying to find a conflict, but couldn't find it. And then we gave up.
I'm glad you didn't find any. I also wanted to ask you, based on sort of the Mami screening, he had for all the screenings you guys have done where he's spoken to an audience. When people speak to him and just experience his personality, have there been any specific moments from those Q&As that have really stuck with you of people just talking to him and interacting with him?
See, one moment, after the Mami screening, I went, he used to stay here only at the Worli police quarters. I remember him, I went and I said, sir, thank you for coming. And, I just wanted to drop him home and all of that. And he just said one very interesting thing. He said, yesterday in my dreams, I saw Patwardhan. And he said, Zende, you have done a good job. And it was the first time he's ever said this. So, I mean, so he got very emotional about it because he was very close to Arvind Patwardhan. And yeah, I mean, I think so that one thing will always stay with me. He said, because of your film, Arvind Patwardhan in my dream said, good work, Zende.
Was that the first time he watched the film?
Yes. The Mami premiere was the first. He said, I don't want to see it because I will say that ye nahi hai, wo nahi hai, ye nahi hai. And, so I said, okay, cool. Like many people ask me, उसकी family क्यों नहीं दिखाया, उसके बच्चे क्यों नहीं दिखाए. So I mean, झेंडे साहब भी लगा वो बड़े हो गए, अब वो मेरे बच्चे नहीं हैं. तो that just summed it up.
What did they say when they watched the film?
They did not know that the father was like this. Not even his son. They said, oh shit, this is my father. He had such a nice love story. So.
I love that. If there is nothing else, I will just conclude. I will end with you. You didn't answer my earlier question. What's the one lesson you took from him and sort of just experiencing his life?
That the world is not ending, and be hopeful and just give your best. I think so. One thing he used to always quote in Sanskrit from Gita. I don't remember the Sanskrit words, but what it meant was that you have to fight and you have to work, and you will get what you want. And I think so that spirit of his is still there with me when I'm trying to do my second film, and I carry it with me. So I hope so I get the second film out.
We could all use some optimism right now, so I will absolutely take it. But thank you to the both of you. Thank you for bringing us his story, and to all of you, this film hopefully will get a release somewhere online in the coming months and years, and when it does, it can absolutely use all your support. But thank to the both of you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.